Nowadays, let me ask you, do you not see the same thing in our great country here in America? In the name of tolerance, people are being very intolerant. In the name of justice, people can do very unjust things. In the name of science, people can be very unscientific. Dear ones, don't be fooled. What we witness from these forces that we call secular in our own country, they're religious. They're in fact very religious, with a very religious zeal that consumes them. It's a crusade of sorts. It's unforgiving, it's violent, it's dictatorial. It goes about punishing anyone who disagrees with their groupthink. And most dangerously, it actually justifies its violence and injustice towards people, the way it condemns people, the way it cancels people, the way it tries to silence people, because it labels any dissenting voice as a threat to the good of society. Do you see that? And in that way, they have this zeal to, quote, help society. And if they feel your voice, especially as a Christian, contradicts their good for society, they can justify hating you, silencing you, deplatforming you, canceling you. Do you see that happening right now? In the name of God, these people say, let's kill God's person. In the name of justice, let's be unjust. In the name of equity, let's be very inequitable. Look around at the groups that have turned sexuality and gender into a religious movement. To defy them, to even question their motives, is a dangerous move today, isn't it? But it's still a move that we have to make in the name of the gospel to stand up. This just happened this year. Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Ivan Provorov, he refused to wear a rainbow LGBTQ shirt and hockey stick during warm-ups to one of the Flyers games. They had a pride night of inclusion. And this is what he said: I respect everybody and I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion, he said, citing that he is Russian Orthodox. But the religious movement of the LGBTQ plus saw this as a, quote, a show of defiance against LGBT fans. It was an attack, they said. An attack on their ultimate good for society, on inclusivity. So in the name of justice, what did they do? The group holding that Pride Night called for Ivan to be benched, to be fined, to be kicked off the team, and some even to be banned from the NHL. For what? For defying their religious movement. This is what the leader of that group said: you can play. That's what it's called. Quote, for me, religion is about charity and inclusion. This wasn't just about a player and a jersey and a patch of ice. What else was affected by this? Visibility and proximity. It was an attack on inclusion. Those things were negatively impacted. What's he saying? This hockey player is not religious. Why? Because he doesn't follow our form of religion, of inclusivity, of charity. And we'll shame anyone, we'll cancel anyone who doesn't act religious in the way we are. Do you see that? And then they came with a threat to the Flyers: you're going to lose fans. And that leader then shared how their methods are working. He said, quote, we're going to have individuals that don't want to hop on board the inclusion team. That's unfortunate. But I'd say 13 years ago, we might have had 3 people wearing pride jerseys. Now we only have 1 not wearing them. It's working. Be aware, what Paul faced is still very alive today. And it's not from, quote, non-religious people and movements, but by those who actually are quite powerfully religious. They have a faith. They have a belief. They have their own gospel. And they want to make everyone believe it. Beware of those consumed with a religious zeal. For when they deem you violent against their cause, they can see to it that any form of retaliation is justified. So also don't cower to them when they say you are making religious claims, because they are too. And their religious claims should be protected as much as ours, don't you think? A Christian shouldn't be surprised when this happens. There are forces and people consumed with a great desire to silence our lives and the gospel. Yet we too can keep on being in good cheer. Why? Because Christ is with us. Christ is for us, and he's in control. Even when we face injustice, even when we suffer for his name. Because again, God is always completely, wonderfully in control of all the things in the big world out there and in my little puny world over here. He's in control.